There are not many other races on Azeroth older than the Trolls. Before there were humans, before there were elves, Tarn, orcs, pandas, the Trolls were there. In this video, we'll talk about the rise of the most powerful empires Azeroth had ever seen, and how they became the struggling kingdoms that were easily overthrown by the other races on Azeroth.
Well of Eternity. Ungoro Crater was right there. Is this real? Odamon. Oh, I love this song. Oh shit! Here we go!
So as far as we know, the origin of most troll culture comes from the mountains of Zandalar. It was here where trolls first discovered the wild gods, which they called the Loa, primal manifestations of life.
There's a frog god? That guy looks like a bozo, chat.
In Azeroth that became the main focus of their religion. The Zandalari trolls were the most powerful group of trolls at this time, and they lived in the highest parts of the Zandalar Mountains. The villages in these mountains would slowly develop into the humongous city of Zuldazar we know today.
I would want to live here. After what we did today, the BFN, I feel like I've seen this video before, by the way. I might not remember, but I think I've seen this.
Zandalari society was built on a class structure called a caste system, meaning that trolls are born into a position of power or destined to be a lower class without much wiggle room. It's important to point out that the Zandalari trolls are the trolliest trolls around and have a lot of respect from the other tribes. Their society is all about recording troll history, worshipping the Loa, and maintaining the holy ground their city is built on and progressing their society. Without the Zandalari, trolls as a species would have never had a chance. And over time, other tribes started to form under the shadows of the Zandalari. Tribes like the jungle trolls of the Gurubashi, the forest trolls of the Amani, and the frost trolls of the Chakari. The Zandalari remained relatively peaceful with these tribes, as it was their mission to develop all of troll.
They're like lower IQ version of the Zandalar. Zandalar is like the smartest one.
Kind, not just themselves. Besides, they had a near infinite amount of land to share, so there was plenty to go around. Now, there was some infighting between tribes to show strength, but the problem was any conflict trolls got into with each other would only lead to heavy casualties on both sides. And besides, the trolls would need to learn to work together and fast, because there would be a very rude awakening in the future. So the trolls had almost limitless resources and land to explore, but there was one place that was forbidden. At the base of the Zandalar Mountains, there is a mound of solid black stones. The dark power of these stones were left untouched for thousands of years, until an outcasted shaman by the name of Zando succumbed to the whispers of a mysterious blade that told the troll whatever was under those rocks was an undiscovered powerful Loa. No! To awaken whatever power was deep within the earth, he performed multiple living sacrifices with the blade to appease this unknown power. And I don't think anything positive has ever happened from performing live sacrifices, so unsurprisingly, it was not a Loa trapped beneath the earth. It was the old god Cathraxi general named Kithix.
Thousands of years ago. Damn, okay.
You see, Kithix was alive back when the Titan Keepers were hanging out on Azeroth, I don't know, doing Titan Keeper things. And Kithix got into a scuffle with Tyr, and the two fought in a violent battle filled with explosions and violence that lasted 6 whole days, before Tyr delivered the final blow by self-destructing against the Cathraxi. The place where this explosion happened was called Tyr's Fall, which in Vycrul tongue translates to Tyr's Fall.
No way.
But anyways, despite Tyr's noble sacrifice, Kithix survived but was gravely wounded. He retreated to the Zandalari Mountains where he collapsed in exhaustion. The Loa sensed this evil presence and buried him so he could never be awakened again. I'm sure they could have just told the trolls, hey, there's a giant goddamn bug monster the size of a skyscraper in the ground, don't dig it up, but they didn't. They decided to stay vague about it, and now the trolls have a huge problem on their hands. Thus began the Aekir and Troll War, a war where the trolls had to use their combined might to fight against Kithix and the Aekir, a bug-like race formed from the organic matter of the old gods. The trolls realized they needed to do something quick or their society would surely collapse under the old gods' might. The most powerful troll empires set aside their differences and made the most powerful partnership Azeroth has and probably will ever see. And that's the Empire of Zul. The Zandalari, Gurubashi, Amani, and Drakari tribes united under one banner to kick some major bug ass.
I'm gonna enjoy hurting you.
What is this sound
The Aekir War lasted centuries, but ended with the Drakari, Gurubashi, and Armani tribes hunting down the retreating bugs to annihilate them for good so they'd never be a threat again. The Amani in particular hunted down Kithix in a suicide mission that ended with a majority of the Amani trolls dead, but they slayed the demigod and became legends in troll history.
Damn.
Because the troll tribe
Zulaman, Amani, Drakari, Zandalar, Thundering Mountain, Zul'Farrak. Wait, Zul'Farrak was all this? Or this Gurubashi? Okay.
tribes were now so far away from each other, they became more insular and established their own unique cultures and history, but the Zandalari Mountains remained a place of
Oh, Mr. Plum. Wait, they came here? Dude, this guy was badass.
Ah, Zul'Thara, leader of the Zandalari. I have a proposition for you.
Lei Shen, leader of the Mogu, reached out to form an alliance with the Zandalari. The two races were the most powerful forces on Azeroth at this time, and a war between them would be mutually assured destruction. So their partnership was more one of complacency. The Mogu promised a large section of Pandaria in exchange for their aid, and the Zandalari were suffering after heavy losses during the Aekir War, so they partnered up with Lei Shen and the Mogu. Lei Shen was a good partner to have because he was kind of a badass. I mean, the dude literally pulled the heart out of the Titan Keeper Ra and absorbed his power and fought the wild god Zul'In in a battle that lasted 30 days. So he's definitely a guy that you want on your team. The Zandalari would accompany Lei Shen in his next conquest for power in Oldham. The plan was to take control over the Forge of Origination. The Forge was an immensely powerful Titan Forge device that had the ability to eradicate all life on Azeroth if it became too corrupt. Lei Shen with his Mogu armies and Zul'Thara, the High Priest of the Zandalari with their troll armies, marched side by side to seize control of the Forge.
Open up the forge. Stop having it be closed.
Lei Shen said. The race called the Tol'vir were created to protect the Forge of Origination and ignored Lei Shen's orders. They quickly realized, though, that they didn't stand a chance against the two armies, so they decided to edit some code in the Forge of Origination and not nuke all of Azeroth, just Oldham.
Bomb has been planted. What the fuck?
Hi, guess what? It's ad time. Do you like WoW lore? Do you like getting things for free? I do. That's why I'd like to share a special deal with you. Yeah, you. Yes, I'm talking to you. If you go to audibletrial.com/plat, you can get a free audiobook. Look at all these cool Warcraft books they have on there. Wow, that's crazy. Or you could get a non-Warcraft audiobook. But the one that I'd recommend is Shadows Rising. It's the newest book, just came out. It talks about the events leading up to Shadowlands. It's voiced by Princess Talanji, and you can get it for free and support me and get a great product in the process. Just go to audibletrial.com/plat to get your 30-day free trial. That is audibletrial.com/plat. Get it. Okay, now I'm flying away in space.
Damn,
I'm flying away. Back to the video. The scorched land of Uldum turned into a barren desert, and Lei Shen, the high leadership of the Zandalari, and all their forces were obliterated in an instant. This sudden dismantling of leadership created a power vacuum for both empires. In the lands of Pandaria, this allowed the Pandaren to be victorious in their revolution against their slave masters. For the Zandalari, it was a scramble for power that made the wounded empire very cumbersome with their decision-making. The big question for the Zandalari was, so Lei Shen is dead, do we still get that land in Pandaria he promised?
No, not at all.
The Pandaren now ruled the lands the Zandalari were promised, so they decided to take it by
Dude,
force.
I already hate pandas, and Platinum making them do this dance is making me hate them more.
The Zandalari...
But you know what's funny? In Warcraft 3, I used to love the panda. Every time I see the goblin vendor, I would always buy the panda, because he like shapeshift into like 3 pandas. That was so cool.
Troll Wars
I swear World of Warcraft makes everything
had
kinda
begun
whack.
when the trolls descended upon Pandaria and easily took over the lands of Kunlai and pushed into the Jade Forest. Victory was in reach until some random Pandaren named Zhang created the Order of the Cloud Serpents and destroyed the Zandalari armies, forcing the trolls to retreat back to their home and lick their wounds. Okay, so 2 defeats in a row for the Zandalari. It could be better, but nothing could prepare them for the next major blow to trolls as an entire race. During this whole time, a small subsect of trolls called Dark Trolls migrated to the very center of Azeroth near the Well of Eternity, a source of infinite arcane power. Over generations, the Well of Eternity would transform these trolls into a whole different race. They developed glowing silver eyes, they lost their tusks, they stood up straight, they had 10 fingers, 10 toes, and these were not trolls anymore. These were the first ever Kaldorei. This newly evolved race adopted their cultures, religion, and harnessed the powers of the infinite amount of magic their society was built on. The sheer strength of the Kaldorei...
Everything up to this one was really good. No, dude, Blizzard, what is that writing? You made trolls into night. How did they go from 2 fingies to 5 fingies?
Grew exponentially. These virtually immortal, extremely magically gifted, arcane-wielding assholes spread like a plague across Azeroth. The disjointed and barely functioning Empire of Zul stood little chance against the powerful might of the Kaldorei Empire and their leader, Queen Azshara. The fact of the matter was, the elves could squash the trolls in an instant if they wanted to. So Queen Azshara told the trolls that if they stopped all forms of expansion of their empires, she'd let them live as a subservient to the Kaldorei Empire's rule. Imagine
Mutation? Okay, I would believe the story better if trolls were mutated night elves, because they look like mutants.
being a troll at this time. You are a race favored by the gods you worship. A race that has a history of being the strongest empire in existence, filled with conquest, rich cultural history, and immense pride. Then, all of a sudden, a race who were once trolls, perverted by the power of arcane magic, have the ability to easily topple your empire and absolutely humiliate you into being a complacent empire forced under the Kaldorei rule or face total annihilation. This event filled the trolls with great resentment, a resentment that can still be felt to this day. One phrase continues to echo through every troll's mind. Man, fuck elves! All my tribe hates elves, and what's even worse is these dumbass elves started a war that introduced demons onto Azeroth, and the war ended with the whole world exploding. Now, almost every single troll tribe was completely disconnected from each other. Thankfully, the Holy Land of the Zandalari had a trick up their sleeve. It's called plot armor, and during the Sundering of the world, they had a magical shield that protected Zuldazar. But still, the heart of troll culture was now an island totally separated from every other tribe. Join me in the next video where we go over every single tribe in the...
How did trolls become a side dish of the game? They were like main characters in the old lore.
Discover their fate after this devastating moment in Azeroth's history. And, spoilers, almost every single tribe dies in a horrible, horrible, slow, painful death.
That was a great video. Good video. I like it too, boys. There you go. Because they suck, their stupid dumb troll kill everything. I like the video right there, bam. Good video. Oh, there's a